During the Bush administration, I wrote a lot about and alerted folks to the fact that Bush had gone too far, especially with labeling people enemy combatants. If he labeled you an enemy combatant, it didn't matter what happened. You were a suspect, you were taken away, locked up. And what I was telling people is that it doesn't really matter what the law says, it's what the president thinks or the Bush administration thought, and you were a suspect. All of a sudden, under the Obama administration, we're getting the same kind of mentality, and now it's with so-called right-wing extremism. In fact, recently, the Department of Homeland Security has issued a 10-page report on right-wing extremism. What it essentially says is that if you hold a particular viewpoint different than the Obama administration, you can be labeled a right-wing extremist. And in several parts of the document, right-wing extremism and terrorism are lumped together, which means you can be labeled a terrorist. Essentially what a right-wing extremism is in this report is people that disagree with the economy, disagree with home foreclosures, may want to get in the streets and protest the economic problems, who don't like abortion, a number of social issues. All of a sudden, you're lumped into a huge category. It would be anybody, any kind of person that was concerned about civil liberties. If you happen to come at it from a conservative viewpoint or what the government considers a right-wing viewpoint, you are an extremist. As I looked at the report, I saw myself a lot in, because things like people who wrote about or talked about such things as the erection of military detention camps in the United States, which under the Bush administration, Halliburton got a huge, over $300 million contract to erect such camps, so it's a fact. So any kind of thing the government would label a conspiracy theory or whatever, you become an extremist. So what really is being said in this report is that if you're willing to take your views seriously, get out there and protest, be vigorous, stand on the hall of the steps of City Hall, you can be labeled an extremist. This would include the recent Tea Party tax protests. They could fall under this particular category. It would also include anyone out there in the past who has been great dissenters, such as John Lennon, who was tracked by the government, Martin Luther King, Roger Baldwin, who's founded the ACLU. You would even lump guys like Thomas Jefferson, Patrick Henry, and Samuel Adams in this particular category. What it really means, though, and this is the most important thing, is if you're labeled an extremist by the government for your political views, you will be under surveillance. And ladies and gentlemen, the government has awesome capabilities. They've been developed over a period of years. They really zoomed forward under the Bush administration, and they're continuing under the Obama administration. In fact, the National Security Agency is unveiling a new computer program that will be able to track everything on the internet, your emails, your phone calls, and it's going to try to anticipate what you think and how you're going to move and the things you're going to think about. Also, with the help of the Obama administration, there's a new law being proposed in Congress that will give the president, in times of a so-called national emergency, and put quotes around national emergency, whatever the president may think, it gives the president the power to shut down the internet. Also pulled under all this is commentators, people who write on subjects which the government might consider extreme. That's also mentioned in the report. The bottom line is this: this is really a bad move on behalf of the Obama administration. This report needs to be pulled back, redefined, redone. We need some definitions. It's vague, and anybody can fall under a category of being a right-wing extremist, and that could be people on the left. In America, we have a right to be disgruntled. We have a right to get in the streets. We have a right to be extreme. That's all protected under the Constitution. We can never, never give that up, and we can't let any president, whether he comes from the left or the right, completely undermine our constitutional rights.